o'clock it is.
You don't have it in your screen yet?
No.
Okay.
Okay, well, let's not waste any time and call this meeting to order at 4 o'clock p.m. And we'll do roll call. Nicole, you want to do roll call?
Yes, sir. All right. So member Karen Wheat. I don't see her on the Zoom and she's not here in person, so I will mark you as absent. Member Betty Rader. I don't see her on the screen. She's not here in person. I'm going to mark her as absent. Member Rob Moran. I see him there. Rob,
You
I
can
will
see him.
mark you as present. Member Alan Coblin.
Present.
Oh, member Von Lawson.
Present.
Member Evan Brown.
Present.
Member Bernie Baland.
Zooming.
Member Monir Ahmed.
Yeah.
Very good.
And Development Director Kyle Warzinski.
I am also Zooming, if that's an appropriate response.
Member Mike Lara.
Present.
Member Ray Santos.
Here.
Thank you.
And I may have stepped out while you were calling, but Rob Moran's here.
Thank you.
All right, looks like we do have a forum, right?
Yes, sir, we do.
Okay. So we will start with, it looks like Mayor Ray Santos, are you in the building there?
Yes, I am, right here.
Awesome. How about we do the Pledge of Allegiance, and sir, would you mind leading us in the pledge?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right.
Okay, let's stand. And put your hand on your right hand heart and begin. I pledge allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the
flag of the
United States of America.
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with justice for all. Thank you.
All right. Am I still unmuted? Okay. Let's see, actions of, did we have any excuse absence requests for this meeting?
I do not have any.
I did not receive any. Nicole?
Okay.
No, I didn't receive any either.
And do we, looking at the agenda, are there any adjustments to the agenda that anyone would like to make?
No.
Okay, seeing none, then we'll move forward with the approval of the agenda. I don't think I need to do a roll call for that, right, Nicole?
No, sir.
Okay. Conflict of interest disclosure, are there any of those pending? Doesn't seem like it. And then public comments. So due to the circumstances, we are encouraging members of the public to maintain participation in our meetings by using the following options: emailed comments, phone-in comments, in person, subject to the applicable health orders. All of the details for these options can be found on the front of the agenda and will also be displayed on your screen throughout the meeting. Do we have any public comments?
I do not have any written comments. Heather, do we have anyone on the line?
No callers.
And then just for a quick point of clarification, I see that Betty Rader has joined the Zoom meeting, so I will mark her as present at 4:04.
Excellent. So at this time, we will, we have the minutes from last meeting. Are there any requests to speak about the minutes from our last economic development meeting? Doesn't look like it. Seeing none. Are there any comments from the committee from our from the minutes from our last economic development committee meeting? Okay. Seeing none, I'd like to ask for a motion to approve our the minutes from our last economic development committee meeting.
So moved.
I'll
I'll make a
second.
motion to approve the minutes from the last Economic Development Committee meeting.
Second.
Laura first, Paul Lawson second.
Make it closer to
Um,
you. So that
And can we get a roll call vote? Everyone, we need to do roll call, Nicole, or can you just do all ayes and nays?
Yes. I'll do a quick roll call.
Okay.
Member Raider,
I don't see her.
oh, I think you're still muted, Betty.
Okay, yes,
Thank you.
sorry. Oh, now there's two of me.
Member Moran, Member Moran,
Yes.
Member Lawson,
Yes.
Member Copeland,
Yes.
Member Brown,
Yes.
Member Balland,
Yes.
Member Ahmed,
Yes.
and Director Warzinski,
I'll abstain.
and Member Mike Lara,
Yes.
and Member Ray Santos.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, so,
City manager Parton's joined us as well.
Okay, thank you.
okay, let the record reflect that Todd Parton has joined the city manager. So the recommendation is to approve minutes, approval of the minutes dated September 9, 2020. We'll move on to the next item in the agenda, which is update of projects from city staff.
Nicole, you want to take this one?
No, thank you.
All right. Hearing no response, I'll take it from here. So
Put you on the spot, man.
I do apologize for not being at the last couple meetings or so. I think you all understand that I was out on family time with a brand new baby. So we're really excited about that. I'll try not to provide you too many updates on him unless you really want to know how many times he pees and poops in a day. But everything's going well at home. So thank you for the time off. I appreciate it. In terms of updates that really we've been going over on behalf of the city, the first and foremost that we had talked about for quite some time was the wastewater treatment plant. And we are happy to announce that facility is up and running and fully operational. So that's really exciting thing for the residents of the city in terms of compliance with the state laws, as well as from an economic development perspective, because now we know exactly what type of facility we have. We know our capability in terms of treatment for different commerce and businesses. And we have the ability to discharge brine through that brine line all the way to San Bernardino, which ends up in Orange County. So pretty exciting for us. That was a monumental project that was led by the city manager and the assistant city manager with the authority of council. So I know it seems like it's not really a huge deal. Everyone takes for granted when you flush your toilet, it goes somewhere. But if you've ever had to deal with it and know what technology is in place that treats that water and turns it into very pristine water, it's actually pretty amazing. Other projects that we've kind of seen move forward are one of the last commercial projects that's been building during this pandemic is the San Gorgonio Village project over there off of 2nd Street. So I think since the last time we all saw each other, at least I saw all of you fine people, some of those businesses were still under construction. And now we have grocery outlet open, In-N-Out open, Raising Cane's open, Five Below. The Cinema West movie theater is well underway. And I believe Ulta Beauty has taken ownership of their building within the last couple days or so. So you should see their tenant improvements starting in the next couple weeks, hopefully. And I believe Planet Fitness is also kind of chugging away at their tenant improvements as well. Oh, Jersey Mike's, right? Yeah. So we have them if you want a really nice sandwich as well. So we're excited about that. From the standpoint of the committee, I think you guys get a better understanding of the timing that it takes for developments like that to actually be put together and be constructed. I think we all wish it would be a lot faster than it is, but now you got a pretty good understanding of kind of what it takes in terms of timing for these things to come to fruition and for us to actually be able to go out there and buy things or eat or so forth. So we're excited about that. What other projects do we have going on right now? I think that you may have been given a good update by the mayor at the last meeting in terms of the business grant program. So if you were to ask me 12 months ago what type of projects was economic development going to be putting forward for the year, I would have told you different types of events, right? Networking, socializing with our businesses, realizing what their needs are. And then we hit March and things drastically changed. And we shifted gears into trying to keep our businesses open, trying to get them to apply for the state funding available, the federal funding available, the county funding that was made available. And then now, as of last week or so, we're back to state grant funding that's available again. So we've shifted gears. We, as the city, received some federal money, and the city council directed staff to create a local grant program for our local businesses in order to kind of help them weather the storm and get through all of this. So I believe you guys got a pretty good idea of that program last time. I believe it's very successful in terms of the businesses that were able to apply that really needed it. They were able to demonstrate to us during our review process how they've been negatively impacted by the pandemic. And unfortunately, it's not over yet. So we're still doing our best at staff to assist these businesses with hiring needs, understanding what regulations are in place today or tomorrow, because it changes on almost, as it seems, every couple days or so. We have different changes. And I know I've talked to Rob before, where our governor comes on TV and he says X, Y, and Z about one business industry. And the next thing we know, our phones are ringing off the hook from businesses that are in that sector that want our guidance on what that press conference meant. And unfortunately, we as professionals in the industry aren't provided a heads up on what's going to be on TV at 12 o'clock. So we're kind of learning how to get the information as fast as possible and then distribute that to the residents as well as the businesses within the city. And as Rob can attest to, the entire county as we move forward. I know that at the last meeting, you guys had been interested in looking at our sales tax revenues from the first quarter. Did you get an update on that at the last meeting or no?
I don't think we did, Kyle.
No, we don't.
So I believe we've received the first quarter and second quarter sales taxes for 2020 so far. We're anxious to see what third quarter is. Sales tax in the second quarter, which is probably the most important because that's kind of when the pandemic started. We had worked and we'd produced some models and everything to present to city council to mimic how bad, or maybe not how bad, but what the real impacts were going to be negatively on the city's budget as a repercussion of what happens in each individual business. And we had categorized businesses throughout the city into 3 tiers: 1 low risk, 1 medium risk, and 1 high risk. And then we applied certain discounts to what their normal revenues would be year over year in order to project those. So we were down quite a double-digit percentage in our projections. For multiple different reasons, when we received the second quarter sales tax report, we were actually almost flat, if not up just a little bit. And what we did not know, because no one's ever ran a fiscal model in terms of this type of environment before, is that while some businesses were going to be distressed and have significantly reduced revenue, we didn't know everyone was going to go to the supermarket and buy everything off the shelves for a month straight, including all the toilet paper on this planet. So we saw upticks in certain industries that we didn't necessarily foresee as we were looking through this. So while some were down, others were actually up. One of the biggest numbers in terms of up was Icon Health and Fitness over there off 4th Street. And that's a company that sells Nordic Track and Gold's Gym and all of those types of things. And in my conversations with them, they told me that every single time a treadmill or an elliptical hits that factory floor, it's sold. Because as we know, when the pandemic hit, everything shut down, including gyms. So people weren't able to go to their place of fitness. So they were purchasing this equipment to actually utilize at home. So if you ever want to have a COVID-19 proof business, sell fitness equipment, I believe. I don't know if that'll work for the next one, but at least that kind of helped us this time. And then the other dollar amount that came in by the graces of God or just by luck was Amazon's robotics actually went into that building and hit the sales tax rolls in the second quarter. So it's a really nice one-time boost for us. We will not expect to see that every single time because it's a one-time hit when they purchase the robotics that goes in that building. The city itself receives a portion of that sales tax revenue. So it's a nice time to hit when our numbers were probably going to be fairly low. So we're pleased with that, but we do realize that a lot of these were one-timers and that we're still kind of watching what occurs in the third quarter and the subsequent fourth quarter to get an idea of the true fiscal impacts that we're dealing with here. Todd, do you have anything else to add in terms of the sales tax or any other projects?
Now, council just adopted the general plan update and revised zoning ordinance. So those two things have been completed now. And I know, and actually Rod can probably talk about this better, but we are expecting tomorrow the county to file its COVID-19 vaccine disbursement plan. It's required for submittal by the state, by each county tomorrow. So we'll have an idea about what that vaccine distribution is going to look like going into next year. So I think that rounds it out. Thank you.
That concludes my report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. Any comments or questions from the committee?
I have a question. If I understand correctly, when Governor Newsom talks, which I kind of get lost sometimes, he's allowing businesses to defer the payment of their sales tax. Will that affect us then?
Good question. Thank you for answering that. So as soon as that happened early on in the pandemic, we got with our sales tax consultant to try to determine what that was going to be, because a deferment in sales tax means that they're not paying it now, which in then turn means that the city's not going to receive it, right? And what we've learned, at least through the second quarter, is that most businesses are not choosing to defer their payments. I'm not exactly sure why. It could be because they know they have to pay it eventually, and they have the money now, so might as well pay, and as opposed to a large lump sum whenever the deferment program ends. So we didn't see a huge impact from that in the second quarter, but you never know if they're going to choose to start deferring in the third or fourth quarter, and then we'll see that lag come later.
It kind of related to that. There is also another portion of it is the employee hiring or employee retention credit. 1,000 an employee that gets offset against sales tax. Have you seen anything filtering down to the city budget on that city revenue?
Thank you for bringing that up. In terms of the hiring tax credit, where you get the $1,000 per hire, we've tried to kind of look into it, but it hasn't seemed like it's made a huge impact from our fiscal point of view. So I would encourage all businesses to utilize that program in order to, I mean, if that's the difference between keeping your doors open and not, then I would encourage everyone to utilize that program in order to pay the least amount of taxes as possible. Although it may negatively affect the city's budget, we can't, or at least I don't believe that the city can sit here and think so narrow-minded. We want these businesses not only to survive this thing, but we want them to be in business and in operations 5 or 10 years from now. So if it takes us and our budget having a little bit of a dip for a year or so, then that's perfectly fine as long as they're still open 5 years from now.
May I ask one more question as we are on that? I looked on the city website. I saw that we have the information for the businesses from the federal SBA and the county grant program that they had announced. Some of the cities using their portion of the CARES Act money and other money and so forth are also offering own city grant to the businesses who are really hurting. Do our council have in the city have any program that I missed?
We had a business assistance program that was $3,000 per business. And then we've rounded a first amount of applications and have distributed that money.
I see. Okay. Okay, thank you.
Kyle, if you don't mind me jumping in real quick too, a lot of that, the CARES Act money is pretty much wrapping up at this point because it needed to be expended or needs to be expended by December 30th. So pretty much all the programs that were related to CARES Act, at least at this point in time, are nearing their conclusion and wrapping up or frantically trying to get last minute funding dispersed. And we keep hearing that there's a potential new stimulus package coming from the federal government. But it's at this point, everything's up in the air. It's hard to say what may or may not come from that. And you know, there's discussions taking place in Congress, but you know, at this point, nobody really knows.
I had a question for Todd from his earlier update, if I may. Todd, on the vaccination plan, you said the county is going to release the information and so forth. Is there an option or is there a requirement that city has any plan or just go with what county says? Is there a specific allocation of vaccines come toward the city or whatever county gives and however way they manage it?
The state has specified an overarching process for the way that the vaccines are going to be distributed. And then each county then has to provide a plan back to the state that shows how they're going to disperse under the county guidance or the state guidance. And so the state actually has a process in place for selecting who will be dispersing the vaccines. And the key thing there is they're really looking for proposals from distributors, like if it's going to be Rite Aid, you know, which vaccines are they distributing? Do they have the equipment and the supplies and the personnel to actually do it? So there's some qualifying protocols like that, but it'll go, and the way the system's set up is to go from the Fed. The states will get either what they bought or what their allocations are. And then the states have guidelines for then how they'll disperse it down through the county departments of health. So it'll follow that same process, just like flu shots, you know, just like all the other public vaccine programs that are out there. This will follow the same kind of protocol.
I see.
And
Yeah,
Todd,
I think one of the.
go ahead.
I think one of the difference with the flu shot is you rarely ever run into shortages versus this vaccination is really scarce, right? So the reason I'm asking this is I know Walgreens, CVS, and Rite Aid will be the primary provider in our area, in Beaumont area. But then they also have their own distribution chain as to which location gets how many and so forth. I don't know if there is an opportunity for city administration for you guys to be sort of proactive to make sure at least we get what we deserve, and they have a plan to help our residents the best way possible. Because there are so many, the line of chain of command is so deep. If there is any breakdown in any of those, you wouldn't even know until months later. Anyway, I'll stop here. Thank you.
Well, I just wanted to share, to that discussion, and I'm far from an expert. I will qualify my statement by saying that I'm far from an expert on the distribution of vaccines and so forth, but I am engaged frequently with our public health department, and they provide an update to our economic recovery task force. And so the initial vaccine availability is really going to be geared toward frontline public health workers. So unless something, I think, drastically changes in terms of the quantity of the vaccine that's available, it's not likely to be available to the general public until probably March. And then dosages will start. In fact, I think we'll start next week in deploying some of the vaccines to public health workers. And I think the original number was we were in somewhere like the first dose was going to be like 15,000 doses, but we've got 150,000 health workers in Riverside County. So that kind of gives you a perspective that it's going to be a slow rollout to the general public, simply because it's scarce only to the extent that it's a new product that they haven't manufactured enough of yet. And it hadn't been approved by the feds up until, literally just in the last few days. And there may be some that are still waiting for approval. I'm not 100% sure. So I think you're not likely to see mass distribution, again, unless something happens in the supply chain to the general public for a few months. But we'll see. That's what the information we have right now.
Can I interject in there? Hey, Rob, you're right on that because I did reach out to County Supervisor Jeff Hewitt about that. That was, last week, I think 10 days ago, prior to coming out on the this vaccine. And we did discuss that. And then he said that he will contact the Department of Health here in the county. And the consensus on that is, you're right on that, Rob. I mean, is the the first responder and most of the county and government employees. So it will continue the working to the public before it hit the public. Again, I will second on that around March or April that will hit that. So thank you for that information on that. I did discuss with County Supervisor Jeff Hewitt on that. And then they're looking on the population too. I mean, they will go on the population of the most vulnerable, community, and then they will count they will consider the population on every city or jurisdiction, and I think that's why I told him that they should see us. I call it a CBB. What CBB is the Calamasa Beaumont Banning region, and count it as a one unit. So we will hit a bigger population. So there will be get the not priority. I mean a small priority on that. So he said that's a good idea. So he will put it on the on his agenda. I think that this will be this week on that. Thank you, Rob, giving that information on that. Thank you.
Pleasure.
Okay. Any other last minute thoughts there? Or looks like we're ready to move on to the next item in the agenda, which is an update on RFP retail market analysis.
Thank you, Committee Chair. So the City Council authorized staff to go out for an RFP for a retail market analysis to build off of the work product and to help really get things moving forward, or a couple components of that economic development strategic plan that was done, have that component really push forward on certain aspects of that plan. So the city sent out that RFP, and what it really asked for here, and let me pull it up real quick. There we go. So it really was looking for population and household increases, consumer and household demographic profiles, consumer demand and market supply as assessment, those typical drive time analysis from different areas and with the city, business and market competition, existing retail firms that are working within the region now, identifying retail voids as well as surplus, market cannibalization, and then we added in psychographics and market viability. And in addition to, so that's really all data, right? And data is really nice when you have it. It's not nice when you don't have it. Sometimes you don't have enough of it. And what we've learned is that the data sets that the city was able to have the last 4 or 5 years or so was kind of normal for the industry. And we didn't want to be normal anymore. We wanted to have more sophisticated data to be able to talk to retailers and businesses throughout the region as well as the United States and really up our game on how we're talking to them. So an example is previously we would have said, look, the city of Beaumont has 50,000 people. Our median age is 32. Our median income level is 78,000, 75,000 for a family, so a household income. We're within a certain drive time of these other population centers. If you were to look at us from a 5-mile radius, you can add the population of Banning, in Calamasa, in Cherry Valley, and then when you factored in their income levels. So that's kind of the old way of talking about a trade area. And now we're looking at hiring a firm that's going to provide us what I consider cutting edge data sets. Some may think it's a little bit scary in terms of what data that you're able to actually acquire on customers. And it goes down to census blocks in terms of demographics. But one of the most critical components, I think, is going to be the usage of cell phone location data. So every time we go somewhere and we shop, every time we go somewhere like us driving to work, our little fun cell phone tells us where we're going. It knows where we're going. And it tells a bunch of companies where we're going if you have those location settings on. My phone even tells me where my car's parked. I don't know why it does that, but if I look at it and it's about time to leave to go to work, it's like, your car is 10 feet away to the southeast. And I'm like, yes, I'm aware of that. But it's down to that level of sophistication, which allows us to buy this data that says, okay, this group of people goes to Trader Joe's in Redlands, and they go here 4 times a month, and they only go to Stater Brothers 1 time a month. It's that sophisticated where you know exactly where they're going, and from that you can get a better understanding of the consumer and where they have preferences on shopping. So you can utilize that data plus the income, plus the demographics and age groups, and really make a good swing at some of these retailers where before we were what I would consider a little bit behind the ball in terms of our knowledge level with talking to them. And they already know that data. They already know those numbers, but it's really nice when you're talking to them to be able for them to understand that you as a city also know that. So you kind of up your game into your knowledge level, and then you can't tell them anything they're not going to know, but you can get a better discussion going on things they do know, and then you may be able to provide, or the city may be able to provide some ancillary facts that they're not aware of. So that's the idea on the RFP. In addition to just the data sets, we included some optional scope of work items within the document. We said, okay, what's it going to be for the data? How much money is it to do some of these other things? And one of them was assessing the retail potential of different sites throughout the city. Another one was matching all of those data sets that we talked about and consumer profiles with the profiles of specific retailers and businesses. So it's fine and dandy that we have the data sets, but how do we know what the businesses want? Well, there's a way to do that. And then after that exercise is completed, we're going to have certain matches. And then we can review those matches and say, okay, that match is interesting, but we don't really need another Jack in the Box, right? But some of those matches may be businesses that we really want, we feel are the highest and best use for the area. So then we'll actively try to recruit them to the city and put together some development projects. And then the last optional scope piece was having the company step in with staff and assist us in actual recruitment themselves, and kind of bolster the time that we have here. So that's a synopsis of the RFP. It went out in August. We received 6 proposals in September, and then we scored those. A group of individuals scored those, and we took the top rated firms and we interviewed them. And then we took the 2 top rated from the interviews and interviewed them again. And then we've selected a firm that we're going to be proposing a contract with to do everything I just explained, and hopefully more, to City Council next Tuesday.
All right, any questions from the committee? Well, it doesn't appear to be not hearing any. We'll move on to the next agenda item, which is the Smart City Plan. And I don't know, Kyle, if you want
Dr. Brown, do you want to take this one, or because I know you guys had talked about it when I was gone, and then I've been happy to kind of enter into your meetings that you've been conducting on what the school district itself is running for more of a smart city concept. So if you want to take that, I can jump in if anything comes to mind.
Sure, absolutely. So as a school district, we've been exploring what a wireless access would look like for all of our students in the city. And so with that, given the current educational times that we're in with COVID-19, we went ahead and ordered 1,000 Verizon hotspots that we have issued out to all of our students. We do pay the purchasing fee on that, and we pay a monthly fee. And so what we were really interested in is there a better solution to providing internet access and access for all in a more broad sense and maybe even a cheaper sense? And so we've been engaging with several different meetings and some of our technology integrator partners and looking at, is there another option in terms of kind of blanketing wireless access for all of our students throughout the entire city? And with that, we've entered into some conversations with Nokia. Graybar, I think, is the other company, private company that's involved, and our technology integrator partner called NIC Partners. And so where we are right now with the project is this idea that there is a broadband service that is out there that community and organizations can tap into. It's called CBRS, Community Broadband Radio Service, I believe it is. And so we've been working with engineering architects and wireless solution providers on how that would work for our students. And where we are with the project right now is the past probably 4 months, we've been talking about what it would look like, how many users we would need to cover, where we would possibly mount towers onto school site buildings and those sorts of things. So the current status right now is we have identified a pilot site, which is Palm Innovation Academy. And if you can all imagine where Palm is, it's got probably the most dense population in terms of users being able to access wireless. And so we're starting there as a pilot site. And instead of going through, the process of having to get approval and Department of State architect approval and all those different things for building a structure, we're actually going to mount it on a temporary trailer. And the idea is that Nokia and Graybar, these private companies, will be able to better understand, the geography of the location, how many users we're trying to affect, and then we're going to start that way in terms of how tall the tower would need to be, the penetration into people's homes, the how far the signal reaches. And so the estimate right now, just with this one pilot site, is that we would be able to provide internet access for 900 families at that one elementary school. And so, again, the conversations are still very new. We're still in the research and exploration phase of this. Kyle has joined the last few meetings just because I had expressed to our integrators the interest from the city to do something similar to this, and our partner, NIC Partners, they've actually done some smart city plans at Chula Vista and a few other cities. They were the technology integrator that worked with the city on doing that. They have not. They've got a lot of different projects in the works right now with other school districts, but they haven't really done one where the city and the school district are kind of partnering together to figure out how this would work. And so it's really exciting for them to go down that road. They did mention in yesterday's meeting that this is a completely new space. I mean, it really is. We're kind of on the cutting edge in terms of seeing if we can provide internet access to all students, families, city members, that sort of thing. There's not a lot of cities who have done it and have done it cost effectively and have done it efficiently. And so, but they kind of reassured us that although we're on the cutting edge, in about 10 years, this is going to be, what's normal for the most part. And I know from the school aspect and what we're doing right now in virtual education, this is not going to go away. We all kind of don't believe that things will turn back to 100% normalcy. There is a contingency of families that really do enjoy this type of learning, and they like the flexibility of it. And so we are going to see an increase of this type of service. And so how can we ensure that everyone has internet for all, everyone has access to to high-speed internet? And so that's kind of where we are right now in these stages. It's, again, still in the exploration stage, but we're kind of excited about how we can do this where it's cost effective and we're 100% guaranteed that our students are able to get online. So Kyle, did you have anything else that you wanted to add to that?
Thank you. That's a real good summary on kind of where the school district's going with on it. I was happy to participate and kind of learn about this new type of system and start thinking about its applicability towards what the city could actually utilize it for. There's a couple of different ideas that we've had at City Hall, although it hasn't gone as far as past Todd and I talking about it. but there are concepts of utilizing that wireless technology, which much larger cities utilize in terms of smart street signals, smart parking lots. So I don't know if you've ever gone to like a very urbanized city and pulled up their city app, and it'll actually locate an open parking spot for you. That's a smart city plan, and that's utilizing the Internet of Things concept where inanimate objects are connected to the internet and it's all linked in. So you're able to utilize it in those fashions. You can hook up sewer lines, sewer systems, pavement in terms of speed and traffic, all those types of things. Obviously, you can use it for parks to see how those are going, police units or medical response. All those different concepts can be linked in. Obviously, that comes with a cost, but it's interesting to kind of watch and see what we might be able to do. We have not ran any numbers in terms of what those costs are, so I honestly don't know what it is. My largest goal with a smart city plan right now is probably shifting away from that type of focus and hoping to be able to determine the feasibility of bringing in large backbone infrastructure for, I don't even know what the term of it is, but I would call it crazy high-speed internet. So the craziest high-speed internet used to be like a 1 gig connection, right? Businesses were like, I need a 1 gig connection. It's the fastest out there. I need this for my data-driven business or my tech business. As of a couple months ago, I can get a 1 gig connection at my house now. So that has shifted to more of a 10 gig or faster for businesses. That type of capability is out there. I'm interested in seeing what the feasibility is on bringing that to certain areas of town. And then we can utilize that if it's in the street or in certain region of town in order to try and bring in entrepreneurs and tech-based businesses that don't have that where they currently are at and would have never moved to Beaumont if not for the crazy high-speed internet that we were able to provide. I know Rob has probably dealt with this in Riverside proper. I'm not exactly sure what their speeds are or what they're able to provide to different tech companies that have located there. But I would venture to believe that what Riverside is able to provide is much faster than the current infrastructure in place in Beaumont. So if you're a Beaumont entrepreneur and you live here in our city and you want to open up a new business venture, chances are you're probably going over to downtown Riverside to start your business, and you're not looking at our business park areas or our downtown area. So that's something that I'd like to kind of study and figure out what the costs are associated with that. And if it's doable, then really looking at how to implement that into the future.
Hey, Kyle, I actually discussed this item about a year ago in this group. You were so right on. I mean, I do have a gigabit connection at home in Riverside. I have a lousy connection in Beaumont business. At least several days a month, if not more, I have my phone line down, my internet down. I have no business because nobody can call. And only the provider I have, of course, on this live call, I'm not going to tell the name, but everybody knows who this is. When you call them, the earliest that I will say they can get any technician out is in 3 days, if they do. This is really a very bad, difficult way to run business, especially nowadays when you can do. If I don't have internet connection, all my equipments are down because they're connecting to the software on the cloud. So this would be. I can't tell you how immensely beneficial it will be for me. I did on my own, did some checking with some of the competitions that has in other areas and so forth. And one of the provider was very interested, but then it was shut down by their corporate office because the minimum investment to come into the area would be about $35,000. And they didn't want to bring in with just one customer signing up for a couple $100 a month, because that will take them forever to recover that $35,000 investment. If we could, as a city, do something to at least, even if city don't spend money, but at least shore up the interest of some businesses to sign up, and we can come up with 10, 12, 15 businesses say, I will sign up for your services. The private businesses would come and do the investment, I'm sure.
That's a really good point. I never thought of that, but yeah, working together as a business group in order to solve one of your problems is definitely possible. That's what I want to try to find out, is if it is 35,000 or is it 3 million, right? Like what's the cost to get in this service to the city that's not only fast but reliable? And I think it's a worthwhile endeavor to go through the process to kind of figure out what we have and what we might be able to get.
Count me in if in any way I can help with ideas, with doing the labor, calling around and finding out. We really need some help. And I think, I'm sure Betty hears often from throughout the city, from people all around. It's really not up to par. It's not what you expect today.
Yeah, Betty, do you get feedback from businesses on their internet connection, or do they
No,
explain to you what
no,
they're looking
I
for?
haven't. Kind of surprising that I haven't, but we certainly could do a survey out to our businesses and see what they would want and see if they would want to be part of this group. I need a little help about what to ask, but we certainly could try.
Yeah, we could try that out. That's not too much of a problem. I'd be interested to know what their responses are. I mean, and most of them just not care, or because they use their phone, or they businesses like Monier's, where their entire business operation is cloud-based now, because that's where so much is going. So therefore, to run all of those things off the cloud, you need pretty good and reliable internet.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, well, maybe we can try and put together a survey shortly and
Let me
see
know
what kind of
if I can
response we
help
get.
with.
Yes,
If I
yeah,
can
because
help
I
with
won't
the
know what to
questions and so
say.
forth.
But
Yeah.
Okay.
Kyle, let me know if you would like me to put something together.
You got it.
Okay.
All right. So keeping us on track here, I think for that topic, Kyle and I will continue to provide updates on that, just from the school district perspective, along with the city perspective, and headed with that. We do anticipate in January getting from
You lost a mic.
with what we're doing currently to serve.
Evan, your audio is cutting out. We're not catching you. We see you talking, but
See, there's the internet
Yeah,
connection. right there.
yeah, he's cloud-based.
There it is,
and
right?
That's
we're-
our topic
we're
right now.
doomed.
Can you hear me now?
yes.
Okay. So yeah, we'll continue to provide updates. Kyle and I will, and we'll make sure that as we progress in this project, we'll report out as a school district and as the city and how those both look as we continue to progress through the project. If that sounds okay.
Can I interject something?
Absolutely.
Thank you. On the high-speed, Kyle, on this, I mean, I did, bring it out this item of having a high-speed, but through a infrastructure on the fiber optic. There's a lot of cities out there right now doing, they're investing on the fiber optic. And there's less, interruptions, and because there's what you call this, autom autonomous vehicle coming up. I mean, we're talking about what is that? I mean, cars that will service the city without the driver and everything. And the way I see it, this is future that will help our students. That will help, especially the seniors that who cannot get out on their community. And this kind of connected to the high speed internet. This is been on the on being used already almost 3 years, and I'm exploring that, and that's like I like to see the smart city plan on this, but the city itself has to invest on this. I mean, and when I say invest, it's time. There's a lot of grants out there that we'll be exploring. I'm one of them. I mean, that exploring it. So I'm not promising or anything. I'm not a politician. I'm not running for office or something. So I'm a person that like our school district, and then our seniors, and then the quality of life here in Beaumont will be will be running so smooth. And probably Kyle, you heard that South Cal Connect, that has been approved, and I'll be exploring some of the grant that we could really use it here in Beaumont. So I'm looking on sitting on with the council, and also especially with our city manager Todd Pardon. We did discuss that one time, and now I'm looking on directions going on that direction. So we will have the high speed internet instead of having a wireless internet on this. That's the information I'm sharing with you on that high speed. Thank you.
Great. Any other comments about the smart city plan? Okay. Well, seeing none, I think at our last meeting we decided not to bring any future topics, just because of the current situation, and we kind of have, I think everyone has a lot going on. So unless anybody has any opposition to leaving those topics for future agendas just there until we kind of get back to the normalized space of things. The intro to new business program, cannabis and area overview plan for committee, economic development tools and incentives, workforce development, apprenticeship program, and homeless update. Are we okay to put those to the side for now, or are there any other comments from the committee? All right. Well, seeing none, then we're down to committee member reports. And I have the list of participants, so I'm just going to go down the list if you don't mind. And we'll start with Mr. Moner Ahmed.
I'll pass.
Okay. And then next on line here is Betty.
We're down. No, nothing to report.
Mr. Kyle Rosinski.
I've talked enough for today, so I got nothing.
And you're on baby duty, right?
No, he's with the wife right now, so I'm clear.
All right, Mr. Rob Moran.
No reports for me. I just wanted to share, I think it was discussed. Okay, so I'm lying. I do have a small, short one. So there was discussion earlier of the state tax incentives. There is a new state grant program that's coming out. It was announced by Governor Newsom at the same time that he shared the tax credit and the sales tax deferral. And it's a $500 million grant program. He announced it, I think, about a week ago. I'm forgetting exact date. but that program hasn't launched yet. My understanding is that it's going to be coming out in the next week or 10 days or so. The staff up in Sacramento they didn't even have a vendor ready yet. So apparently there's going to be a community development financial institution who's going to administer this program and deploy funds throughout the state of California. So it's up to, I think it's $500 million with up to a $25,000 grant. That's all the detail we have at this point, but as we get more, we'll share it. Thank you. That's it for me.
Great, thank you. Mr. Bernie Belan.
I don't really have a report, but I think this has been my time is timed out as far as needing to re-up my application for the committee. And I think I've been with the committee for probably 2 years now. So I wanted to go and be in person with you guys for my last meeting today, but I actually had to go and take a COVID test just because some of our staff at our office had some family members that were in contact. So out of abundance of caution, our boss had us go and test as well. So I was actually driving to the committee meeting, and then I said, what happens if I become positive? And then I have to inform everybody at the meeting that I was positive, and they're going to say, well, when did you go test? And I said, right before the committee meeting. So I don't think that I'll resubmit my application, only because hopefully there's somebody else in the city that's willing to step up. But if nobody does step up, and if you guys need the help, I'm always willing to help out. And if you guys ever need anything from me, I'm here for you guys. The work picture that we have for the solar projects out in the Blythe and Desert Center area, it's going to pick back up. Any of the seniors or high school students that you guys are in touch with and they're interested in getting in the trades, feel free to send them my information. Betty, I know that you sent a gentleman that's working with Beaumont High School, and he reached out, and I'm going to do whatever I can do to help him and get the trades in there as far as at least the electrical. And I thank you guys all for your time. And if you guys need me, if you guys don't end up with another committee member and you need somebody, feel free to reach out and I'll resubmit my application. But hopefully there's somebody in the city of Beaumont that is watching and wants to help out and devote a little bit of time to their city.
Well, thank you very much, Member Belan. I would just say you don't have to worry about that. I already submitted it for you. All right, then, I believe it's Mayor Pro Tem, Mr. Mike Laura.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Brown. Bernie, thank you so much for your time and your dedication to this committee. I really appreciate it. If anybody does come in to replace you, they'll have some big shoes to fill. So I really appreciate the time and dedication and the work that you've done, not only within the committee, but the work that you do outside of that to help young folks get a jump and get a start on their future careers. So appreciate that very much. Other than that, sir, I have nothing else to report at this time.
Right, Mr. Todd Parton.
Looks like he may have stepped out.
I think he stepped away.
Okay. We'll move on to Mr. Vaughn Lawson.
Good evening, everyone. First of all, it's just a blessing to see all of you healthy, happy, smiling. As always, very quickly from Mount San Jacinto College, we know that COVID has had a direct impact on jobs and our workforce in this region. A lot of folks have lost jobs or been laid off. And so we've created a number of short-term training opportunities on the credit as well as the non-credit side. So if you have individuals who have been displaced and are looking for those training opportunities that would take as short as 1 semester or no more than 2 semesters to get them back into the workforce, refer them to us. We'd be happy to work with them. And I'm going to ask Ms. Wheelwright to provide your contact information, if she would, for you, Mr. Belan, because I would like to visit with you about that electrical program. And it has been a pleasure serving with you. Congratulations, Mr. Warsinski, on that new baby. I always tell people I know God is real when babies are born. To hear those lungs full of air and screaming, that's just a blessing. And then I will finalize my statements by saying the same thing I say to the students that I serve and to the people that I serve at Mount San Jacinto. Please, folks, wear your mask. I don't care about politics. I've grown accustomed to you and I like you, and I want to share more time with you on this planet. So let's everybody be safe and take care of our families and take care of each other. So just been a blessing. If I don't see you again until the new year, Merry Christmas. Love your families, hug them for no reason, and enjoy the new year. I've told a lot of wives lately that I serve in my division, hug your husband, it'll scare him to death. He'll start confessing stuff that he's been doing you didn't even know about. So we're growing closer as families, and that's the most important thing. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Long. So I guess I'll close us out here tonight. In terms of the school district report, we're keeping on. We're doing our thing virtually. We've got a lot of teachers working very hard and connecting with families. We've seen the COVID numbers uptick. And we know where we're going as a county. It's not in a good direction. But we're controlling what we can control, and that's delivering high quality education for our kids, trying to make sure that they and their families are safe. We know that in these times, there's a lot of mental health issues going on. Again, trying to make sure that we follow with every kid struggling and crisis, and trying to be there for them. Flexibility is the word of 2020, that's for sure. Bernie, I'm going to submit that application for you already. Hey, thank you very much. You were the chair, I think, for 2 years, so it's been quite a long time. Thank you for everything that you've done and taken the time to serve.
Evan, we lost your audio again.
Back. Barely back.
I can
Okay,
hear you.
we can
You're
hear
back.
you.
I can hear you.
Thanks,
Sorry
Bernie.
about that. Yeah, thank you, Bernie, very much. You don't have a city affiliation or a government job. You're a private citizen, working to improve the betterment of a lot of people. And so we thank you a lot for serving on this committee. And if we can't find someone, we'll certainly call you.
Pleasure.
So same too, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Holidays to all of you. Wish you all the best, stay safe, and I agree, Vaughn, hug your families. It's a blessed day when we wake up and we're vertical and we're alive and things are good. So thank you all very much, and we will adjourn this meeting.
Merry Christmas.
I guess I'm not a member.
Merry Christmas.
So, Vaughn, I put my
It wasn't
info
even
in the
mentioned.
chat.
I've already written it down. I'll be disturbing you soon.
Merry Christmas to
Take
everybody.
care, guys. God bless.
Yeah,
Bye-bye.
you too.
Take care. Bye.
Take
Thank
care.
you, Bernie.
He had the agenda, he had the list of all